What's up, guys? GotDave here, and just riding the new bike to work. This is like the second day I'm riding to work and back. Second time I've rode the bike, except for home from the dealership. Actually the third time now, but second time I've really rode the bike, and it is to work and back again, because that is why I bought this bike. And it's funny because I was actually talking to one of the guys that I hang out with up in the canyon, and I was telling him that I got this thing and telling him what I paid, and he was like, hell yeah. And he goes, are you gonna bring it up to breakfast, you know, like bring it up to the store and let us all check it out? And I'm like, yeah, I want to, but at the same time it's like I'm pretty much like reserving it just for commuting, you know, just to keep the miles down on my other bikes, you know, and save my other bikes as the fun canyon bikes, you know, like the RC8 and the Beta. Just save those for the canyon, and don't, you know, like don't ever ride the RC8 or the Beta to work and back again. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I did to this bike right off the bat to make it more rideable for me, to make it feel like my bike. And the first thing, like, you know, like I brought it home from the dealership. First thing I did, very first thing, I checked the tire pressure, all right? And I think the actual recommended pressures for this bike are really high. You know, like it's like 36 in the front, like 41 in the back or something like that. That's actually what they recommend. But I aired them way down because I don't weigh very much compared to the targeted rider that they set a bike up for. I adjusted the clutch lever and the brake lever, you know, like you can adjust those in and out. So I adjusted those so that my fingers are like, you know, like so that they land perfectly how they should. And then I adjusted the two pegs on, like the peg for the shifter, I moved out because I got big feet. And then the little peg for the brake I moved out because you could move them closer or farther, so I moved those farther away so my foot controls feel more comfortable. And then I rotated the handlebars forward a little bit. I loosened up these 4 screws here, and I rotated the handlebars forward a little bit because they were rotated back and it was kind of like a tucked position, and I wanted it to be like, I wanted to open it up a little bit more, you know, make it feel a little bit more like an upright. And so I did that as well. Those were like the physical changes that I made right off the bat. The suspension feels pretty soft on this bike, so I didn't do any suspension adjustments yet. I have yet to really ride it hard enough to see what I want to do as far as suspension. You know, like maybe I'll take it up in the canyon and do like a stunt road suspension test on this thing. And then I took the stock mirrors off of this bike because I really don't like the mirrors being in my way. I like having a nice view, and I feel like not only is that better, like I like it better, but it makes for better motovlog videos too, you know, when you don't have those mirrors in the way. I think it's a lot better. And I took the mirrors off of the Duke 690 and put them on here, put them on this bike. So I got the bar end mirrors, the same exact ones that were on the Duke 690 a freaking couple days ago, and I just put them on here so that it would be like the same sort of feel as the Duke 690. And I actually measured the bars on this bike, like compared to the Duke 690 and compared to the RC8, and they're basically like as wide as the RC8. They're probably like an inch and a half on each side more narrow than the Duke 690. Yeah, it's an excellent lane splitting bike as far as that goes. It's got a really narrow front end, and it's really easy to make it between cars, like in tight traffic and stuff like that. Works really, really good. So those were like the major changes, you know, that I made. And then I rode it to work and back, and it felt really good. It felt a lot more comfortable to me than it did riding it home from the dealership. So I was stoked, you know, like those changes made a big difference and made the bike feel more like my own. And then when I got home from work last night, I looked the bike over, you know, just to kind of, you know, just see like, is there anything loose? Is there anything that just looks like it's out of place or not? You know, that just wasn't assembled properly or whatever when they first assembled the bike, you know, because it's still like a brand new bike, even though it's 2 years old. It's been sitting around for 2 years. It's been pushed in and out of the dealership for 2 years, and nobody's bought it, you know, for 2 years. That's why I got the deal that I got, is they were just like, dude, get rid of this thing, you know. It's like, it's been sitting around for 2 years, nobody's bought it yet, and we need room for like the new models. So that's why I got the deal that I got. But I just looked it over, you know, just to make sure everything looked all right. And while I was at it, I took off the passenger pegs because that's another thing I like doing to my bikes. And then the other thing I did last night is I set up the display. Like, you could set up it's got this screen on the display here, like on the left. How it's got, see, it's got two screens. It's got the screen on the right, which is like your regular motorcycle, you know, like would have like speedometer and fuel gauge and clock and water temperature, stuff like that. But then it's got this it's got a left screen, and the left screen, you can customize it with the different things that you want to see, because it's got a bunch of different features on this bike. And so I customized it so that I have oil temperature, and then outside air temperature, and then my battery voltage, and then my trip meter. So when I look at that, I have those four things right there at first glance. And I got that all set up, and I made sure the clock was set right. It's easier for me and quicker to learn for me, and makes more sense to me if I just mess around. I just turn on the key and just start messing around with it. You know, it's like, you're not gonna blank the bike out, or like, you're not gonna ruin anything, you know what I mean? So I just like to turn it on, just start messing around, and figure it out. So that's it. I just figured I'd talk about, that's the changes that I have made to the Duke 1290 so far, just to make it more comfortable doing this, just so I can commute to work and back, and, you know, just feel safe and feel proficient at controlling this bike. So I'll talk to you guys later. You have a great day.